Hey everyone, this is Dr. Eric Block, your host of our weekly Monday nights, and we recently creatively renamed it I Love Dentistry Live with Blocky. So it's a pretty creative name, and we're going to discuss a topic for the day and with a member of the group. And today we're joined by Dr. Robert Picks. Robert Pick, thank you so much for joining us.
You are very welcome, and I hope everybody has a good sense of humor. Laura Stedholm put on a very funny post the other day. She said it should be live with Blocky and Picky. So
I love that.
you got the Blocky and Picky combination, and here we are to cause good trouble.
I smell sitcom here, Blocky and Picky. I think we could run with this. All right. So
And the
tonight's
Oscar
topic, Blocky and Picky.
yes.
So tonight's topic is unprecedented practice action for unprecedented times. And Dr. Pick received his dental degree, certificate of residency in periodontics, and his Master of Science degree, oral pathology, all from Northwestern University. Dr. Pick is currently engaged in full-time private practice of periodontics, implants, and oral medicine in Aurora, Illinois. He is also a member of the attending staff of Northwestern Memorial Hospital and clinical associate professor of surgery at Northwestern University's medical school. Dr. Pick is a popular business practice management coach, best-selling author, entrepreneur, practitioner, and professional speaker. And in his spare time, which I don't know how you have any spare time because it sounds like you're a busy dude, but Dr. Pick is a commercially rated pilot, an avid guitar player and guitar collector, and a collector and restorer of classic Corvettes. Wow, that's quite the bio you got going on there.
Thank you, and very honored to be here. And my pleasure is, as some people know, and I always tease the leaders of this group. I'm so jealous I did not think of the name. I love dentistry. It's perfect, and I love dentistry. Just that simple. I love it. So I'm so glad we're doing this.
It really is. It's such a great group. It's such a positive group. It's so fun to engage on there. I go on there every day. Our topic is unprecedented practice action for unprecedented times. But I first wanted to ask you, why are you known as the purple cow guy or the Bitmoji on steroids? I got to hear that story.
Oh, God. How long do we have? I'll make it quick. You never know, people, where time takes you. About maybe 4 years ago, Nathan Ho was interviewing me on his site, and wasn't using a background like I am today. And I had my other desk, and he goes, "What's that little book over there?" And I grabbed the wrong one. He goes, No, the purple one. And I said, "Oh, that's Purple Cow by Seth Godin. And it's a book everybody should read. It's a former New York Times bestseller. Within 10 seconds or less, the moral of the story is anybody that's ever driven up in Wisconsin, you drive, every cow is black and white. It looks the same. But if all of a sudden there was a real purple cow in great shape sitting there along the fence, there'd be a traffic jam. People with their smartphones would be taking pictures, videos. So as I always inject with ethics, always first, Purple Cow is sticking out in a remarkable way to separate yourself from the competition. About over the next year, I must have done 6, 7 webinars, and Len Tao one day goes, "We're going to interview Bob Pick, the Purple Cow wow guy." And it stuck. And so I trademarked that I become the Purple Cow wow guy. But as I get older, I never want anyone to make any of the dumb mistakes that I've made. One of my missions in life is to everybody get there faster than they ever thought possible. And it's a forward jet jockey with afterburners on. And because there's so many things today, we're living through the most unprecedented time in our human history as we know it. Whoever thought when I was called the Purple Cow wow guy that we'd be living through a pandemic, a second variant, craziness, people getting cancellations because people are sick. It's cuckoo is my new favorite word. But you need to stand out. And this is something you need to do from day one to separate yourself from the competition. And I was doing an interview with Debbie Videlsicki, and she was laughing. She goes, "Oh my God, you're a Bitmoji on steroids." And that stuck. And so I love it, but I love what I do. And in this unprecedented time, you need to become the purple cow. Wow. You need to have been doing it a long time ago, period. But it's never too late to start. And a great quote that I use all the time, I can't get my book done fast enough, but there's a great quote by some guy by the name of Al Einstein. In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. And that is so true. I want to do a quick side story because I think it's important. Some people know this story, some don't. My flying days are long gone for several reasons, but in 1998, I was given less than 6 months to live. In August 1998, I had one of the rarest cancers known to man, cancer in my appendix, only me. And rare, my appendix had blown. Long story short, my buddies at Northwestern saved my dupa, butt, derriere, culo in italiano. Si parlo molto italiano perfetto. And I went through 14 months of experimental chemo, 3 months of experimental radiation never done on a human before. Thank God I was 43 years old. Here I am. We published 3 articles in Modification. It saves lives today, but it only takes 4 months. From the radiation damage, I got a weakness on my right side, and I lost part of my hearing 2 weeks before I was lecturing in midwinter 4 years ago. So I got a hearing aid the size of West Texas. But in that difficulty, I woke up and I said, I've been lecturing, doing this. I don't know baloney about running a practice. I bought out my practice partner, great guy. I'd sit in his chair, just wasn't meant to be, and hired the right coaches, the right people, signed a secrecy agreement with one of my mentors, and took her systems and said, I'm going vertical, and became a business guy. But again, ethics always first, but people, you're running a business. You got to be the CEO of your practice. I want to jump into something that's important. You talk about unprecedented practice action for unprecedented times. In 1998, when I bought my partner out and I realized I knew nothing about business. Some people know this, some don't. Wake up here, Pick. In 1984, and when Blocky was still in diapers, and I literally pioneered lasers in dentistry. I'm the first one in the world to use a laser. I left it in 98 for tons of reasons. I use them all the time. They're amazing, but I will never forget 85. I went to GE. They were interested in getting in the laser business. I met Jack Welch, and I realized these Fortune 500 companies did retreats biannual. And I started the PBR. Write this down, people. Pick Business Team Building Retreat. I published on it in October 2018 in Dentistry Today. In just those 2 months, it became the second most read article that year. It's now the second most read article in Dentistry Today. Told me it hit home. Look it up, people. Use retreats to become a Fortune 500 dental business. So it started out as a one-day event twice a year. The last maybe 10 years for me, it's a biannual 2-day retreat. When I coach others, it starts as a one-day. But here's what helps to separate you. There's a reason Fortune 500 companies are Fortune 500. They're doing something other companies aren't. I'll never forget lecturing up in the Kohler place for a dental group up in Kohler, Wisconsin. They make the faucets and stuff. And in front of every urinal, in every toilet seat in the ladies' room, in a frame, sits Kohler's mission, vision, and culture statement. So when you're diuresing your kidneys, you'll read their mission and vision statement. Most dental businesses, practices don't have a mission, vision, or culture statement. You got to develop it at the premier PBR. And if you don't have a mission, vision, culture statement, you and your team don't know where you don't know where you're going. You got to do team building exercises. It starts off with you as the boss, the CEO, talking about what's important. Each division reports. Your office manager spends 15 minutes talking about what's going on. Your hygiene team, your assisting team. You read articles. We read scientific articles. We look at our brand. What is your brand? In business, it's called USP, unique selling proposition. What do you do better than anybody else? You got to figure it out. And once you got it figured out, you figure out your why. And when you know your why, patients never leave, people. Never, ever leave. And it's just huge. And so it's called the Pick Business Team Building Retreat. It makes you a Fortune 500 company. And every 6 months, you add things in, you do things. It's where we do our amazing photographs for the team. We go live a couple times each day. That's another thing we'll talk about in a second. So it helps separate you from everybody else. When I coach offices, I go online. It seems hope nobody takes this the wrong way, every Facebook or every website says the same thing. We went to the best schools. We graduated at the top of our class. We went to the best dental school. We do this, we do that. We do CIREC, we do Invisalign, we do this, we do intraoral hemorrhoidectomies. Well, what do you do better than anybody else? Period. Most dentists don't know that. And once you figure that out with your team, man, assuming you got the right team, you're rocking. You're on fire. Period. Sorry about the long answer.
So these retreats are twice a year, and with your team. It's not just with other dentists. It's actually with your own team.
Yes, when I do them for myself, it's twice a year. We go away from the office, and I happen to use what's called the Naperville Golf Club. It's like 3 stoplights from us. It's a great thing. We have a great room. Breakfast is catered in, lunch is catered in. We're away from the office, so there's no distractions. That's huge. And because when you're in the office, stuff's going to happen. Oh, the phone's ringing. I better answer it. This better happen. So you go away, and I do it with my own team. It's now biannual 2-day retreat. When we coach an office on how to do a PBR, it starts out as a 1-day retreat where you do all the basics, figuring out where you're at, your taglines, your mission, vision, culture, team building stuff, where you're going, what's your USP, what's your brand, what do you do better than anybody else, what's your why? Because when you know that stuff, man, you go vertical, period.
Now, what about, in this, crazy COVID era? I mean, it really is unprecedented. Before, you'd go to the country club or get a room or an event space or at a restaurant. Now with COVID, how do you recommend to do these retreats? Is it, something we can do just in the office or virtual, or what do you recommend?
Yeah, we still go to where we go at the golf club. They have to live by the rules of opening a business. So everything is sterile. It's clean. We're in a conference room, no different would be in the office. So you need to do your homework first. But if it's a place that's within the boundaries of what should be done, there's no reason you can't go somewhere. No different than going to a restaurant today. I know next time we go there, they're going to check to make sure we're all vaccinated. They're going to check to make sure we have an ID that matches. But those things are huge. And while you're talking about COVID, again, separating yourself. Something that's huge, right when the quarantine hit in March of 2020, I made one of my team members, write this down, people, the ICC, Infection Control Coordinator. My lead hygienist, Vanessa, took it. She's perfect for it. Analytical, detailed. And during the quarantine, every 10 days, we did a Facebook Live on our office Facebook page of, she, just like you and I, she'd be on one side, I'd be on the other. Vanessa, what's going on this week? What are we doing to make sure it's safe for everybody because we're seeing emergencies. Let's talk about this right now. Live, people, engages 1,200 times greater than text. 1,200 times greater. Imagine if you could take your savings account and multiply it by 1,200, or your stock account. That's a lot of cash. So 1,200 times greater. And we have a patient who's been a patient a long time. He's a PhD in physics, works at a place out here called Fermi. And all of a sudden we realized we had 2 patients from him recently. He goes, oh yeah, I was standing outside during the quarantine. I said, guys, I got to go in. Pick's coming on with his ICC. And the 2 people, his neighbors, are like, who's Pick? Come on in. And they watched us live on Facebook. And his neighbors will tell you, no one else did that. We separated
you
ourselves.
you opened this up to the public. It wasn't just for the members of your office. You opened it up for everyone to see.
Everybody to see. And we went live on Facebook. So our friends on Facebook, but I also, you got the drop-down menu. We also went to the public. But so the guy that's a patient of ours follows us anyhow on Facebook. And those people just happened to be there, blew him away. That leads to something else that I think we should talk about. During the quarantine, my heart broke. I heard so many offices talk about we lost team members. They got poached. And my heart broke. I hope everybody has a sense of humor. Poaching is for eggs. It shouldn't be for team members. You've got to separate yourself. First thing I told my team is nobody's going anywhere. And every 7 days, I went live with my team on a Zoom call, just us, for a half hour to talk about what's going on, where we're going to be, who's going to be in for the emergencies, who's going to be answering the phone. So I kept in touch with them every 6 to 7 days via a half-hour Zoom call. That year, we did our Christmas via Zoom. And it was really funny. Everybody had to be dressed up. And all of a sudden, I'm like, God, there's somebody in the waiting room. I have no idea who it is. Of course, I did. It was a magician I had hired from Wisconsin. He came in, did a great show for 40 minutes. But you got to be prepared for a rainy day. And I got such a late start and everything. But one of the things I did do right was I have certain apps and things that slowly put money away from me. I always thought I would use it when I retire for some fun cash to buy something, or I love old cars. And, but I used it to make sure everybody was safe and never even went through 10% of it. So got to separate yourself from everybody else and just never forget live. Live is huge.
So you're in constant communication with your staff. It sounds like every week you're having a live meeting, and I mean that is I think such a great takeaway, to just be in constant communication, even in these unprecedented times with COVID. You're still making it happen and keeping everyone informed.
And as we've come back, which has been a good year plus now, we don't do that live anymore. When we came back June 1, 2020, we stopped that, but you still got to talk to your team. Every morning we do a morning huddle. And by the way, people, morning huddle is not done in the afternoon. It's not done at the end of the day. It's called morning huddle. So it's done in the morning. It's no different than a football team, a baseball team, a basketball team. The huddle is done before you start playing ball. It's done so you can help separate from what's going on. What do we need to do today? What are the problems? All this sort of stuff. So morning huddle's got to be done before every practice day with a huddle sheet, your numbers, how many referrals you had the last day, what's your production versus last year, that sort of stuff. Should be a monthly meeting. And then, of course, the biannual PIC Business Team Building Retreat.
Yeah, I also think the huddle is a great way to find same-day opportunity, same-day dentistry, and try to maximize your day as much as possible.
Boy, you can say that again. And I've talked about this. By doing morning huddle correctly, you subliminally, things go in your head, and you should be able to put another 100 grand in the books every year by doing morning huddle right. Hygienists will say, oh God, this patient, she's due for FMX, but she still hasn't taken care of this crown that's got to get done. It may be a pain in the butt patient, but when you know that, you'll spend those extra couple seconds, Betty Smith, this crown's got to get done before it becomes too late. And with your permission, there's a great line. I'd like to get this scheduled for you. And so by that morning huddle, things subliminally are given to you and the team that elevate you. We'll talk about morning huddle as a specialist. ITs, I hope things never change. We did our numbers for 3 years in a row, averaged them about 3 years ago. I make an additional $87,000. And I don't know anybody that wouldn't want to make 87 grand for doing nothing by taking proper x-rays that aren't taken. When x-rays are needed, take them. Mm-hmm. Huge. And I'll never get, how I get a referral for perio or a graft on 24 and 25, but all I get is bite wings. Don't miss the boat on that, ever. And let's talk, before I run out of time, you can tell I love this stuff. Let's talk about something else that I think is huge today. And I think my first and second line in the chapter on social media goes, if you're not doing social media right today, you're missing the boat. And then I go, let me repeat that, missing the boat. An amazing statistic, only 37% of dentists have a Facebook page. 37%. You also, at your premier PBR, got to look at your average age of patients. If you have younger patients, all millennials, you better have a good Instagram post because that's where they're going to be. If you have more of a Gen Xer, baby boomer population, you got to be on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be more on Facebook. So in my particular practice, we have Instagram, Facebook. We used to be on Twitter. We pretty much stopped that, but you got to post. And that's another thing. I don't know about you all. And I don't have time during the day to create posts. I'm with patients. I'm with my team. A position that I came up with when I bought my practice partner out, again, is huge. It's called the PRC/SMC. Public Relations Coordinator, Social Media Coordinator. You need somebody that knows what they're doing. It can be a 2-day-a-week position. They need to go out there, go into senior homes. I'd like Dr. Amalgam to come in and talk to you guys about what are all on fours. Are your dentures fitting right? Why cleanings are important the older you get. Grammar schools. That person also does your social media posts. But they got to be doing it right. And if you're not doing social media right, you are so missing the boat. You got to go live. You got to do presentations. I'm a specialist and I get close to 28% of my referrals every month from social media. And these are fee-for-service, high-end patients. And then
I think ultimately patients are they want to see what you and your practice look like. They're going to go on your social media. They're going to check out your website, check out your reviews, and they're going to see if you're a good fit for them before they call your office.
Boy, you can say that again. I don't care if somebody's 90. Some 90-year-olds aren't techie, but most of them are. You'd be surprised. When they get told they have to go somewhere, people today go online first. They're going to look at your Google reviews. And if you got bad reviews, that's an effect. They're going to go to your website. What does it look like? Is it up to date? Does it have a landing page? Does it have a video landing page? Does it have video testimonials? One of my biggest pet peeves. And there's an office I'm going to coach. The website, half of it all the pictures say, coming soon, coming soon, coming soon. You can't do that. You can't do that. You got to be up to date. It's got to be current. Don't cheap out on the website. Something that I've started maybe about 9 months ago now is the Purple Cow Wow Mastermind, where there it is. And it's something that meets for 3 hours on a Friday afternoon for 1 year. So once a month for 3 hours on a Friday afternoon. And it's where we discuss everything from how to do social media right. How do you do the morning huddles? How do you do this? How do you run a PBR? What's showtime when you walk through the door? And, I'm not here to advertise, but I get asked all the time. If anybody's interested in the mastermind, just simply reach out to me. Either text me at 773-230-5211, put mastermind. My EAs hook us up. We do a virtual coffee, which is cool. And the whole goal, and there's CE, the whole goal is so you don't make the dumb mistakes that I've made. I want everybody to come out with ethics first, to crank it, because let's face it, people, we got a tough job, and we work in something the size of a baseball. And, I've been blessed to be on Northwestern on the staff since '85, although I'm very part-time. I'm in the dental division, but I teach the general surgeons all the time. You guys got the easiest job in the world. Pull out somebody's gallbladder and do it through the belly button, and the resident closes. Nobody comes back and goes, my scar is a little bit off. Can you adjust the scar? We're off by 1/8 of a millimeter. Somebody comes back, my bite doesn't feel right. Nobody knows what it's like to take an impression on the distal buccal of 18. You pack cord. It's the end of the day. It's 4:45 and you pull it out and there's blood. And you got to start over, and your assistant looks at you like, I got to go home. Nobody knows what we go through. Most patients don't like to, can you please give me an intraocular shot? I can't wait. Feels wonderful. And then 3 greater palatines for me. We have a tough job. It's mentally tough. It's mentally exhausting. And so you got to know how to do it right. So you come home excited. You walk through that door. It's got to be showtime with motivational mindset. And I always like to make people laugh. I guarantee, whether you like Adele, whether you like the Rolling Stones, I guarantee Mick Jagger or Adele have been on stage, and all of a sudden Mick Jagger goes, he's like singing a song, I got to take a number 2. Adele had a fight with her boyfriend. They don't stop the song. Excuse me, I got to go to the bathroom. It's showtime.
Mm-hmm.
That applies to you. I don't care if you're an associate. I don't care if you're a business owner. You have to be the leader. And leaders step up to the plate, period.
Man, that is so well said. Now, one final question before we wrap this up. Let's say, I love the movie Back to the Future. You get in that DeLorean, you pump it to 88 miles per hour, the flux capacitor goes off, you go back in time. What would you tell a young Dr. Pick? What kind of advice would you give him? He's just getting out of dental school. What advice would you give him?
A young Dr. Pick would have jet black hair, a funny mustache, and a mullet. Nice. I've talked about that before, and part of me wonders, at 67, if I came back and talked to a 30-year-old Bob Pick, would I listen to myself? Because, at 30 years old, you know everything. But I would probably tell myself one basic thing. And like so many boomers and so many people, no one ever sat down and showed me how to invest, what to do with my money. And I hate to talk money, but like it or not, people, money buys freedom. And no different than the mastermind. Each session allows you to take action, differentiation, success yields freedom. So I would tell young Dr. Pick, there's no substitute for compounded interest. Interesting, great story. Everything happened at one time to me. August 98, got diagnosed with a cancer. About 4 months later, I lost like 30 pounds on this skinny body. I'm sitting with the banker because I was going to refinance something. She goes, Dr. Pick, do you ever want to retire? And I thought, that's a bizarre question. And I go, well, yeah, why? She goes, can I be honest? I go, of course you can. You've been my banker since I was in dental school. She goes, at the rate you're going, you're not going to be able to retire comfortably till you're 167 years old. I looked at her. She's 43 years old. It was the second time in 1 year I had the number 2 scared out of me. And I got moving. I got cranking. I got reading. I joke. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I can never make up for lost time. So start early. And there's things today I wish we had when I was Blocky's age and anybody's age. YouTube. If you know the right people on YouTube on investing, it's unbelievable. These people will help you. They want to win, so they get more people watching quickly. Stock up with Uncle Lair. These people are amazing. Chris Sain, Sain. If you follow them and do nothing else, you'll make a ton of money. And money does not buy health. I know. And I had somebody say to me once, you've been talking about freedom. And I explained my story that I was diagnosed with cancer in 98. Person, shut up. Money does not buy health. Sort of. You got money, you can get the best physicians, best everything. But money buys freedom. And freedom, people, is huge, 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 huge. When you have money stuck away, if something happens, you got to shut down for a month. If you got tons of money, it doesn't matter. It's freedom. And that freedom is huge. I wish I could go back and make up for the lost time. I should have been starting when I was 18 years old. Just putting $20 away can do it for you. And so I would tell a young Dr. Bick, 1, get your butt moving on investing, and 2, pay attention to the business side of the practice. Of course, ethics always first. Huge.
Man, great stuff. Dr. Pick, that was probably one of the fastest half hours I think I've been through. That was so many great gems there. Again, Dr. Robert Pick, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone out there, please like and share this event, and we'll see you soon in the I Love Dentistry community. And everyone have a great night, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye, everybody. The Blocky Picky Show.
I smell sitcom. Let's do it. All right,
bye, everybody.
We'll be in
Make
touch.
every day your masterpiece.